Okay. I think video is on now. Oh, minus. Okay. Hello, good evening, and thank you so much for joining the group. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the group. Thank you for paying for the group and for also coming for this meeting. At the moment, there are 50 of us right now, so I think we should just start, right? So my name is Neka. Oh, okay, hold on, sorry, someone wants to join. So welcome again to the group. So my name is Neka, as we most of us know, right? So I'm a foreign language enthusiast. Sorry. So I'm a foreign language enthusiast and I've successfully taught myself Korean language. And now I'm a Korean language teacher, I'm a Korean language interpreter as well. I've been teaching Korean for almost 4 years now. And I started interpreting last year. So far I've interpreted for so many different Korean people, Korean companies, even like some Korean government organizations. So this year I made it a goal to learn other foreign languages, right? Because I believe in one foreign language at a time, especially as a beginner. So if you want to start learning a foreign language, you need I feel like somebody should start with one, because I tried to start with two when I started, and it took me a year. I did not learn anything until I dropped one and then focused on one, right? So this is what I believe, is the best approach. And I've also seen, many people in the foreign language learning field who also say the same thing. Okay, so I made it a goal this year to learn other foreign languages, and I started learning Spanish, right? And the way it was looking, I was like, it felt easy, right? Because it shares the same writing system as English, that is the Latin letters. So that's why I wanted like just a few people to join me and learn the Spanish, and I was so surprised at the response, right? So I want to put out a disclaimer again, right? I'm not going to be teaching Spanish. Like I just said, I am a Spanish learner, okay? I only have experience learning foreign languages, like teaching myself foreign languages. And I know how much of a struggle I know how much of a struggle it is to learn a foreign language by yourself. So many people, like many people here, and just like many other people on the internet, especially on my Twitter, say, "Oh, Duolingo is not working for me. This one, this one." Most people they only know Duolingo, and that's it. And when you keep learning your Duolingo, you might even finish the course. You will not feel like you are able to speak the language. So that's why I decided to do this, right? And I honestly wanted to do it for free because obviously I'm still learning, right? But then one thing I know about things that people do for free is that many people don't take it seriously. And I need somebody who is learning foreign language. That's like congratulations, by the way, on making the effort to like try to learn. So like this is like the first step in trying to learn the foreign language you have chosen. Many of us chose French and many of us chose Spanish. I was going to do just Spanish since that's the thing I'm currently learning. But I'm also going to be learning French as well. So as an experienced language learner, right? So I advise everyone to learn just one for now. If you have not tried learning like any foreign language, even if you have tried learning any foreign language before but have not succeeded in learning it, I feel like you should just start with one, because French and Spanish, they are Romance languages, languages in the same family. So it can be a bit confusing, to learn the two at a time. And if you're learning two things at a time, especially as a beginner, you might overwhelm yourself with information and then you just get tired of it and drop it. So please, if you decided you want to learn Spanish, please stick to it. And if you decided you want to learn French, please stick to it. So the purpose of this class, right, is to, number one, put out this disclaimer that I'm not going to be teaching Spanish, right? I'm just going to be teaching us how to learn it by ourselves. Or French, I'm just going to be teaching us how to learn it by ourselves. So if you thought I was going to come and write on the board, A is for apple, B is for ball in Spanish, or A is for apple, B is for ball in French, please DM me for a refund and I will refund you, right? But otherwise, the purpose of the group, right, is to teach us how to go about learning it, which is what we are here for today. This is not the only teaching I'm going to be doing, right? So today is just like an introduction, and then going forward, I'm going to like be putting anything else we are doing on the group, right? So the purpose of today's class is to like introduce French and Spanish to us, and then introduce the step-by-step process that somebody can follow to learn it. And then afterwards, we are going to share, like I'm going to send the learning materials I have, both textbooks and podcasts and YouTube videos and apps, that we can use to learn this language, right? So I'm not very good with, I don't know how to put it, but I'm a good Korean teacher, right? But I'm not very good with many other things, so I'm just going to go straight to the point and say that since I already stated that French and Spanish are both Romance languages that are spoken. I've not said where they are spoken. Most of us, we know where French and Spanish are spoken. Spanish is spoken in like 21 countries, not 21 countries alone, but 21 countries made it their official language. Obviously, Spain is number one. We have Mexico, Chile, Argentina. There are so many countries where Spanish is spoken, and French too. There are so many countries where French is spoken, like France, obviously France, and then so many African countries. Do you believe that the country with the second highest population of French speakers is Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa? So there are so many French speakers in Africa, and French is also one of the most spoken languages after English, French and Spanish, And the funny thing, like I learned, is that French is spoken in like almost every continent in the world. Have some country that speak French either as their official language or administrative language. So yeah, that's that about that. The second thing I have here is, how do you go about learning French and Spanish? I know that many of us have Duolingo, and we go on Duolingo and then we do those practices they ask us to do. I believe I've heard so many people, like even me, I've had the experience of Duolingo is like a vanity metric, right? What it does is checks out vanity metrics for us, and it enables us to learn passively, right? Not necessarily actively. Passively in that we are learning, right? But it's not really sticking because we are not making any other efforts to learn. So in order to, from my experience learning Korean, in order to learn any foreign language well, you really need to start to learn it as if you are in primary school or you're in secondary school. You know how we started from, in English, A is for apple, B is for ball. Then we graduated to 2-letter words, 3-letter words, 4-letter words. Then we graduated to nouns and verbs and adverbs and adjectives, pronouns, things like that. That's how you properly learn a foreign language, right? So to start learning a foreign language, first you need to get yourself a jotter, right? And prepare your mind that this thing is work, right, that I've started. It's just like so many of us, we have taught ourselves skills like project management, digital marketing, coding, things like that on the internet. Foreign language is just the same thing. You have to take it that seriously, So once you decide, oh, this is what I want to do, you need to gather learning materials. It's not just Duolingo. Duolingo is not completely useless, okay? But first, you need to get a textbook, right? Because textbooks are ordered in such a way that, just like I said, there is A is for apple, B is for ball. There's the alphabet, and then there's the 2-letter words, 3-letter words, and then there's telling you articles, telling you how this language works. This is how you use nouns and pronouns. There is masculine, there is feminine, things like that. Textbooks order these things in this manner, such that when you are making progress, you know that you're actually making progress. So what I used to do when I was learning Korean, I had this textbook, Korean from 0-1, that I would learn, right? I would learn one page today, right? I would make sure to learn one page today. And while I'm learning that page, I'm not just reading it. No, I'm looking at it, acting as if somebody is teaching me it, and then using my jotter and pen to also write down. So it's like you would dedicate time, to learn, to like sit down like this and study. And then Duolingo, how Duolingo comes in is that times when you're like riding on the bus, waiting for somebody in the bank, or waiting to do something in the bank, or waiting for somebody in an office waiting room, things like that. Those are the times that you need to like. Those times you would naturally pull out your phone to do like scroll in the internet, scroll social media and stuff. Those are the times you would. Duolingo is usually important, that you fill your free time with that, right? So in order not to like go scatter scatter, right, let me just start again. In order to learn your foreign language, you need good learning materials. And learning materials, many people like go and gather all kinds of learning materials. You don't need a lot of learning materials. You just need like one of each. One textbook, one podcast. But you can do, sorry. So the most important podcast that most people recommend for learning Spanish or French is French Pod 101 or Spanish Pod 101. So you get that podcast, right? And then you get a textbook, and then you get an app like Duolingo or any other language, French or Spanish learning app, right? So, excuse me. So after you do that, you make a schedule. Do you usually have more time in the morning or in the evening or in the afternoons? When do you usually have more time? You make a schedule. I know I said, right, that, oh, who wants to study Spanish with me for 2 hours daily? It's not, this 2 hours daily does not mean that you come and sit down for 2 hours and study Spanish or French. No. What makes up that 2 hours is like the aggregate. It's like an aggregate. So you wake up in the morning, maybe you listen to a podcast. There are different podcasts, right? Like I said. So Spanish Pod 101 or French Pod 101, what they usually do is that they make these long videos where you have to sit down and watch it like you're in a classroom. So they start by introducing Spanish or French to you, and they also tell you the basics of Spanish grammar, masculine and feminine, past tense and present tense, sentence structure, whether they do subject, object, verb, or subject, verb, object, things like that. So those kind of podcasts. But there are also other kinds of podcasts that teach you words and phrases that you repeat over and over so that you will memorize it. Podcasts like Pimsleur. So Pimsleur usually make 30 minutes podcasts where they say things like, oh, there is a woman in a restaurant. Like they try to give you an example. There is a woman in a restaurant and you want to go and ask that woman, excuse me, miss, do you speak Spanish? Or excuse me, miss, do you speak French? They will now tell you that, how to say that in perfect French or Spanish, what is it called, accents, right? And you have to keep repeating that phrase over and over again. You're listening to the podcast, but they will give you time to repeat that phrase over and over again in order to get it, right? So you can see now that you have two types of podcasts. One where you study actively. Active study is when you sit down like this, you open like your video or your textbook, and then you open your notebook and then they are teaching you something and you're writing it down. That is when you're doing active study. But when you're doing passive studies, like you're probably working out in the gym, or you're washing plates, or you're cooking at home, or you're riding on a bus, whatever. So you are listening to this podcast that is telling you to repeat this thing. By the way, language learning, sometimes you be like a mad person because you have to repeat. You have to keep saying it because that's how you will get used to the sounds of the language, and you will also get the correct accent because you need to be saying what you're hearing. I know that sometimes our mother tongue might not agree with the language we are learning, but that's the point of practice, right? So one Chinese girl, she said that for her to learn French, what she did was, excuse me, somebody just came. So one Chinese girl, she said for her to learn French, what she did was she made sure to take a month to practice difficult French letters that do not have relation with any letter in her native language, Chinese. So those are like regard. I don't know how, like I've not really gotten used to it. So she would like practice those words, those letters over and over and over and over again, in order for her to get it right. So I hope I'm not boring us, right? But this is one challenge with learning foreign languages. If you want your accent to sound very natural, like the one like where native speakers are talking, you need to shadow them. in that if you hear what they're saying, you say it until you sound like them. Don't stop. You play, like you can replay, you can, or put something in a loop and keep listening and repeating after them till you sound like them. That's what I used to do for Korean. You understand? If I speak Korean now, it sounds natural because I was shadowing Koreans. I was making sure. Sorry. So somebody is asking me that they are confused. Is it French or Spanish we are learning? This group, we did French/Spanish. She probably did not join at the beginning, but I said you have to learn either French or Spanish. You have to learn only one. If you carry the two together because they are sharing resources together, or they are, there are people studying both languages in the group, you will just confuse yourself. Unless you have all the time in the world, so you can do Spanish in the morning and do French in the evening, but it's not advisable. It is advisable to learn either French or Spanish in this group. So that is what, before I did, okay, let's just add French as well. I said you have to agree to do only French. Of course, the name of the resources is not, I'm not saying it so that I will not end it. I will not. The resources, I'm going to email it to everybody. The resources I'm talking about, the French podcast, the Spanish podcast, the textbook. I have French for beginners textbook, Spanish for beginners textbook, podcasts, websites. I have all those things. So the point of this lesson is just to tell us that in order to learn a language seriously, it's not a joking matter. You do not, don't tell me join this group so that you I don't know how you used to learn before, but it's not going to be like that in this group. You are going to, sorry, and people, I think you can ask your questions later, right? Is French you want to learn? There are so many people that want to learn French here. If it is Spanish you want to learn, there are so many people that want to learn Spanish here. I'm just saying we are not learning the two together. No one person is supposed to learn the two together. Okay? And about materials, I'm going to send materials. After the lesson, I'm going to say, please send me your email, and can we just ask questions later? How do I let everyone send messages? No. How do I do it so that, please? So I'm just trying to say that, the point of this class is so that we will know that we did not come here to play, that we are going to take this thing seriously, that we are going to use textbooks, and we are going to use podcasts, and we are going to use apps. You get? So we are not just coming here to come and say, I'm number one in Duolingo Diamond League. In fact, Duolingo self shouldn't even really come in now. You will use podcasts and textbooks, before you are using Duolingo to practice, And there are people here that are not beginner Spanish learners or beginner French learners, right? So those people too, as they are learning, they probably already have textbooks. If they don't have textbooks, I'm also going to share, as they are learning, they will need to learn with other resources, resources that write short stories, and teach the comprehension kind of thing, where you read short stories, they will tell you the vocabulary there, the grammar there, things like that. And also to practice what you are learning, you need to talk to native speakers. You need to talk to native French speakers, native Spanish speakers. And how do you meet them? They have language exchange apps on the internet where you can meet them. Not only language exchange apps, but language exchange website as well. I'm also going to share this first. So in order for you to not embarrass yourself, or put yourself in an awkward position, you're not going to go there and say, oh, my country is bad, this one. Nobody asks you that one. Just make sure you just meet a few people. Maybe if you're a female, you want to meet only women, you can just set it so that you meet only women. If you're a man and you want to meet only men, you can make it so that you can meet only men, so that nobody is going to put you in an awkward position or judge you unfairly. You understand? So you guys can talk about your daily activities or things going on in your country, like politics and stuff like that. Not necessarily the poverty situation and everything. So yeah. So step-by-step process that I took in learning Korean. One, I used podcasts and YouTube videos. and then I use textbooks before those apps. Those apps are just like things I used to use and pass time. I gave up social media for a year in 2018. I gave up social media to focus on my Korean learning. So the thing with foreign language learning or learning any skill at all on the internet is that you have to be disciplined. You have to be very, very disciplined. The time you are using to check Twitter, check Instagram, check TikTok, check Facebook, everything, if you put it to learn something on Duolingo, you will find out that the thing that you are learning on Duolingo, if you have learnt it in your textbook, it will be like a refresher. Okay, so those times that you know you will use to scroll, you need to reduce your scrolling time. Maybe set timer on your phone, app timer, so that you are locked out of the apps when you have spent so much, like more than an hour or an hour 30 minutes on any of the social media apps. Okay, so what else did I write down? Sorry. Okay, so in this group as well, I know I said that I'm still learning and I charge because I wanted people to take it seriously. So if you pay for something and you don't take it seriously, it's actually on you, not on the person that you paid to. Because, like, for example, now I have paid somebody 30,000 naira to teach me how to freelance, how to get jobs on Upwork. But this guy will be teaching, I will not be taking it seriously. So at the end of the day, I did not learn anything. Why? Because I did not take it seriously. But I know many other people that took it seriously and they learned something. So if you pay for this group, it's not that I will come and open your head and put the Spanish inside or the French inside. It's actually important, right? Sorry, it's actually important that you really take it seriously. I'm begging in the name of God, okay? I'm begging us to please. I'm going to be saying it in the group today. Good morning, everybody. This is Nneka talking. Today I'm studying with say this woman or something. I'm watching this YouTube video and studying this chapter of my textbook or whatever. How are you going to study today? If you have studied, please send me a picture. If you have not studied, please make sure you do it and send me a picture as well. I'm going to make an effort, right, to like bring everybody to book. But we are adults and we have our issues and everything. So I cannot really do much things besides the things I can do as to the best of my knowledge or to the most of my power or whatever. I'm going to send the materials and give updates and everything. And just what I'm begging us is that we should take it seriously. If we have agreed that we want to learn this language this year, because Spanish is actually very simple, right? Simple in that if you dedicate time and focus to it, like I said, what used to make people to give up is that they don't have. Somebody was complaining to me on my WhatsApp that, oh, hope you're going to share materials. It's because I don't have materials that I give up. I understand that. But if you have like a learning material, if you have a textbook, that you make sure that every day you come to this textbook and make sure that you study one page. Tomorrow you will be more gingered. Sorry, admitting somebody. Tomorrow you'll be more gingered to like open this next page and study it. Next tomorrow, because then you would have learned something from these two previous pages. If you're following a pattern like that, I think you will be. Please mute yourself. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Please mute yourself. Thank you so much. If you have questions, please ask it in the chat box. Thank you so much. How do I mute this person? Okay. So if you I was sorry, where was I? I was talking about how if you are following a pattern, you will be more motivated to study every day. Is when you are studying scatter, when you are following this person and following this person and following this person. Today you will just wake up, you will not know which one to follow again. Do you understand? You will not get confused. Personally, for learning my Spanish, there's this particular woman I follow, right? So I follow her and she has a lot of videos, right? And I have a textbook. So if I watch her video, right? So she has this playlist thing where I'm going to send this woman's YouTube to us as well. So she has this playlist thing where she teaches Spanish. She started by teaching Spanish alphabet. Then she now taught the Spanish alphabet C, when it sounds like ka and when it sounds like se. You understand? And she now told us that, for some in some Spanish accents, that so many people speak, like so many different countries speak Spanish, and then there are like just little tweaks, like little differences in their accents. Like some people some, I think people in Spain, they sometimes z c sounds like fe, like the th in thank you, that fe. So she will just like differentiate the accent for you, that, oh, sometimes you hear it like this, it doesn't mean it's wrong, it just means that it is this Mexican accent or this Spanish accent or this Argentinian accent. But the good thing is that all the Spanish people, they understand whichever accent you're saying. You understand? So far as they speak Spanish, any Spanish you're speaking, the difference is not plenty. You understand? So I follow that woman, and then today I will learn the ABCD that she taught. Tomorrow I will learn the C, like where she's teaching the different sounds of C. Next tomorrow I will learn her teaching the different sounds of nye. Just like that. If you're following a pattern like that, you will be more motivated to come and learn, because as you are learning, you are happy that you are learning something. So tomorrow you come and sit down and learn again. So, but the thing is that I know I keep saying tomorrow, next tomorrow, next tomorrow. You don't have to be learning like every day. Some people can do it though. Some people can learn every day, right? But if you miss one day, it doesn't mean that you have failed, right? If you miss one day, I miss 2 days, I miss 3 days, it's okay. The thing that is not okay is to now go and sit down. I don't tire for that Spanish thing. Why did you start in the first place if you know you're not going to complete it, right? So if you already started it, I think we should have that reason that made us to start it. I think we should look at that reason and go with it to the end. Like me, why did I even start learning Korean? I started because I loved Korean culture and everything. So I was learning it, it was fun, and then I continued because it's fun, right? So now why do I want to learn Spanish? I want to learn Spanish because Spanish is a sexy language, it's a beautiful language, and people like so many people speak Spanish, and it's also important so say if somebody wants to jackpot to Europe or to the United States, where it's very important to have it's very useful to speak 2 languages. This is why I want to learn Spanish. And then if I now say I'm not tired of Spanish and I don't want to learn it again, and so what now happens to the goal that I had? I will throw the goal away. No. So if I know that I want to do it, I will have to sit down and continue doing it till the end, so that at the end I am happy and my pocket will be happy too, because when I learn Spanish as well and add it to whatever language I knew, like English for example, it's going to fetch me money. Not only money, imagine you go somewhere, you say to an airport, and somebody is very, very confused. The person doesn't know what's going on, they're speaking English, the person is not understanding, they're just looking for somebody who speaks their language. And if it turns out that you speak Spanish, they will be very happy, because then you will render help to them and everything. So with speaking Spanish or speaking French or whichever language, you can make new friends, you can make good connections, and you can also make money with it. Imagine you speak French in an African country like Nigeria, and you work in, say, customs, for example. I'm saying this because the other day I interpreted as customs training institute in Abuja. So, and they are looking for they need officers that speak French, because there are so many francophone countries that they need to go for training, or when French people come to their institute for training as well. So say you work in those institutes, you will have so many advantage over your mates. Why? Because you speak a foreign language. So why will you now start learning this foreign language that you are interested in, and then you will not give up in the middle? Not for any reason, but because you are bored or you are tired or whatever. If you are bored, take a break. If you're bored, you take a break, and then after some time you can continue. Me, if you see, I used to take 3 months break from Korean, but I will still later I will still come back, because it was important that I learned it. So with this one too, that is what I'm hoping, and I'm begging everyone to do. Because if we actually take this thing seriously, by the end of by 6 months or by the end of this year, this 2024, there's nobody here that will not be able to speak Spanish. Nobody will, because it's simple in that it's just like English. It's not like English, but it's just like English because it uses the same writing system. And if you get past the alphabet, the proper pronunciations of them, and then the articles and their verbs, it will just be like a smooth flow. It will just be like you, like just putting something in your brain, just cramming things. And it's very easy because like there's so many resources for learning it, and you have people now that are in this group as well that will also serve as your accountability partner. So please let us make sure that we take it seriously. As for learning materials, that is why I'm here. I'm going to provide all that, right? So if you have any issues, any challenges, you can always ask. There are some people that are above beginner, right? There are some people that are above beginner level that can also might also want to explain something. Somebody is raising their hand. Might also want to explain, to you if you get confused. Me, I can also try to explain. Even though I said, oh, this is not a class that I'm going to be actively teaching something, But if you're studying and you get confused, you can ask me, Nick, have you learned this? Can you explain it to me? And I will. That's why I'm here. Yes. So now we can take questions. I know I probably did not do justice to this whole introduction. This is how you learn and everything. But if you have questions, please, now is the time to ask. Somebody is raising their hand. Ikechukwu, could you say what you want to say?
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I just joined the class.
Okay.
So I heard what you said. I heard what you said when I joined.
Okay.
And I'm happy to be here. I can't wait to start the class proper. I can't wait to start cramming. I can't wait to start, obeying all instructions concerning this language. French.
Okay.
So thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you for joining. Okay. So please, does anyone want to say something? Does anyone have any questions to ask? Somebody raised their hand. Damian. Okay. Damian, you can say what you want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Neta.
All right.
Please, I would appreciate it if you can send us this recording through email.
Okay, I think I have it on YouTube Live. I'm going to email the YouTube link. For a dedicated person, how long do you think it will take to learn a language? Say I learned Spanish since you said one at a time. Can I still learn French in the same class? I don't understand. So this class is supposed to last 6 months, right? So if you learn Spanish and you want to learn French as well, you can go ahead, but it might not be in this class because after 6 months I might get too busy to coach or serve as an accountability. But this I feel like this class is going to just be here, forever. So you can have your accountability partners if you like. So, but for someone who's dedicated, how many months do you think it will take to learn the language? Dedication is dedication comes in, I don't know how to, different facets, Somebody can dedicate 2 hours a day and learn it in 1 year. Somebody can dedicate 4 hours a day and learn it in 6 months. It just depends on how much time you dedicate, what your study methods are, how seriously you're studying, and how fast you understand, you get. So as for Spanish, generally, studies have shown that somebody can learn Spanish between 6 months to 12 months. Somebody who speaks English can learn Spanish between 6 months to 12 months with proper learning materials and dedication, as you said. So any other person, please? Somebody.
Hello, Vinaka.
Yeah, Favor, hi.
Yes, my question, you've been talking about Spanish, that Spanish is very easy to learn.
Yeah.
For me, I want to learn French. So are we going to have subgroups of people that maybe a study group whereby we can be, let's see what we learn every day so that to help us to understand it better.
You can be doing what? Sorry.
If you can have a small study group for people that want to learn French because French, me, I want
Half
to
of the
because
group.
Spanish is easier. Is it that
No,
Spanish is easier to learn than French?
I would say Spanish is actually easier to learn than French, but
Right.
like they are similar, like the same in the same family. They are similar languages, so you can learn it as well. You know, you just you just need to like apply your different learning methods. Half of this class wants to learn French actually, right? So
Okay, so can you please just give me like your own like, is there like a particular strategy that you use in order to retain the language thing that you are learning for it to remain in your head?
For it to remain in your head, if you you join late, for it to remain in your head, right? I said you meet foreign like people who speak French on language exchange apps, and you practice with them. Okay, thank you for that question, because like I did not mention vocabulary study apps. There are apps where you can go to and they have decks. I don't know how to explain decks, but they are like a package that contains different words and their meanings in French or Spanish or whichever language you're learning. Apps like Anki, I'm going to send it as well. Anki or Quizlet or even Notion. So they would have these things and you can go there and study, like practice vocabulary. But that is also what apps like Duolingo is for. Hi, I did a lit in secondary school, and the only thing I remember I swear it's not only you. The only thing I remember from French in secondary school is I remember so many things, like just like little things as well. But why would you go for Spanish when you already have an idea of French? I think you should continue with French. You know.
Okay, sorry. And then my last question.
Okay.
So there's a colleague at my office.
Yeah.
She's Cameroon.
Okay.
She's a Cameroonian person.
Mm.
So do you think it's advisable for me to learn? I don't know if their own French is like the standard French. Like I wanted to like maybe during this class I can be messaging her sometimes so that we can be talking. But I don't know if that Cameroonian French is like the standard French so that I can be learning some things from her as well.
You know how English sometimes there's just something that is Nigerian about English, the English that we are speaking here. You know, that's the same way there is just something Cameroonian about the French they speak in Cameroon. But it does not mean that it's not French, you know. So as you're learning your standard French, I think you can still practice with your Cameroonian friend. Okay, so somebody that asked me, I want to learn Spanish, do you think I should learn French since I have been familiar with that? If you don't like French, if you think you prefer Spanish, please go for Spanish instead. But if you want to learn French as something that you already have background knowledge in, you can as well continue with French. So you can do Spanish, you can do French, anyone is fine. Any other question? Please unmute yourself and ask me a question if I not like see the queue, because I think people were raising their hands. Excuse me. Dennis.
Hi, sorry, please, are you recording this meeting? Would we get a recording later?
Yes.
I'm just joining.
Yes, there is a YouTube, like I put a private YouTube thingy with my phone.
Alright.
Yeah. So Dennis, please could you say what you wanted to say? You were raising up your hand. Hello? Okay, if no one else has anything to say, I think we can end the meeting. So I'm just going to send some amount of French and a little bit of Spanish. Is it possible to learn both together? French and Spanish are two very similar languages, and you might confuse yourself trying to learn the two at the same time, especially as a beginner language learner. So I advise that you choose one and stick with it. Next year you can start learning Spanish, or after you have gotten used to French, or whichever one you start with. After you have gotten used to that, you can now, somebody joined and I can't see the person. You can now, learn that. Dennis, please, could you say what you wanted to say? Moses, how am I? Okay. Okay. Hi, Moses, could you say what you wanted to say?
Good evening.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm sorry, I wanted to ask,
Mm.
what about some particular, if we don't understand some things,
Mm.
can we reach out to you so that you
Mm.
can further explain that to
Yes,
us?
I said you can. If I cannot explain it, I will send you a resources. You know, I will send you a material to use and learn it. Yes. Ogene, sorry, before I murder your name. Ogene, please, could you like say what you wanted to say?
Okay, good evening. So, my
Okay.
for the accountability partnership, our partners,
Yeah.
is it that we're going to have like a live class amongst ourselves, like French people? Let's just say we are kind of like learning and we are growing, and somehow it's let's just say we want to like practice what we planned. Is it possible to have like a live
Yes,
class?
you can. Yes, you can do that. You can. Okay, Dennis,
Okay,
please
awesome.
send me
Thank
again.
you.
I'm trying to unmute you, but I can't see you. So, thank you. Omo something. Sorry. I cannot pronounce your name. Could you like? Could you like speak? Hello. Okay. Does anyone else want to say something? Please say it. Okay. Yes, Ayodele. Yes. Good evening. Hi. Good evening. I can hear you. Please go ahead. Ne? Yes, I can hear you. The pronunciation. Okay. If from the learning materials I'm going to send, right? I have textbooks and podcasts and YouTube videos and everything. So I'm going to send it in an order where today, right, you are supposed to watch this video and repeat after them as they are teaching you how to pronounce maybe an R word in French or a year word like the double L, double A year in Spanish, you know. So I'm going to like send you those kind of materials so that you are repeating after them and they are saying what they're saying. So that's how you practice your pronunciation, repeating after the native speakers until you can sound like them. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed that they are saying this one. They are saying A, you are saying Q. It's funny. Just laugh at yourself and keep at it. Don't feel ashamed and shut up. You get. If you say rubbish when they say something, continue saying rubbish until you say something that sounds like what they are saying. If anybody laughs at you, it's fine. Honestly, like you know, it doesn't matter until you get it. Yeah. May I use okay. Success. Hi. Hello, Success. Could you say what you want to say?
This call is about to end though. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it's called like it's 1 hour. It's supposed to last for 1 hour. Hello, Success.